Hi, I'm Kelly. We're here with Coffee Cups and Books, and today we're going to go over my June wrap up. First, coffee cup of the day. I got this at Starbucks. Obviously, it's the Siren. I just thought it was so beautiful when I saw it. I know the reflection from the window is kind of make it difficult to see, but I just thought it was very pretty. It's another little short and stout cup with not a big handle, but that's okay. I thought it was pretty, so I'm a sucker for pretty cups. So in June, I read 19 books. So yes, I'm going to go over these in the order in which I read them, not in readings order, but the order in which I read them. Maybe next time I'll do a different order, but this is what I've got today. I am proud of myself. In May, I only read one book that I owned, and it was a school book that I read to my class. So yeah, I have it in my classroom. This month, I did read more books that I own. Quite a few more of the books that I read, I borrowed from the library or I borrowed from a friend, but I did read some that I own. So, hey, I'll take a win. Okay, the first book I read was The 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield. Now, this was supposed to be a buddy read with Ian, from Ian the Reader. Let's see, who finished it? Who did not? I don't know, I'm not saying any names. But this book follows Margaret, who works at her father's bookstore. And she had written a few little small biographies of people who weren't so famous, but people in the book community. And yeah, that's just her life. But she was contacted by a very famous aging writer named Vita Winter. And she hired her to write her biography. And Vita Winter is very famous, but anytime she was asked a question in the past by an interview about her childhood or anything like that, she would lie. She gave different answers all the time. No one ever knew her true story. So when she hires Margaret to come to her estate and write her biography, Margaret is of course intrigued, and so she goes and does that. Now the book follows. It goes back in time. There's flashbacks, obviously, because Vita Winter is telling Margaret about her story, about her childhood, how she grew up. And it also goes into Margaret's backstory a little bit as well. Now, I gave this book a 3.25, so Ian may have done the right thing by not finishing it. It was okay. It was well written, but a lot of it didn't make sense to me. The characters acted in ways that did not make sense to me. They reacted in ways that did not make sense to me. So I was not into it. I was ready for it to be done. I did finish. It's hard for me to DNF books. But yeah, if I would have, it would have been okay, I guess. So luckily I got this at a library sale. So it cost me $1. But anyway, yeah, it tries to be a gothic tale, I think. If that's your thing, then maybe try it out, but it wasn't for me. But it was fine. I didn't hate it. I gave it a 3.25. But it was a disappointment to me because I thought it was going to be really good. I mean, look at the cover. But yeah. Oh well. The next book I read is a book I own on my Kindle. It's called A Body in 3B by Erin Scott. I got this one of those Stuff Your Kindle events, so I got for free or $1. I gave it 3 stars. It is the first in a series called Murder in the Morrissey, and it takes place in this apartment building in Seattle, like an enclosed apartment building, where the people live there forever. And it follows Meg, a young lady who just moved back to the Morrissey. She lived there when she was young, and her aunt lived there, but her aunt moved away, I think to a tropical, Florida or California or something like that, something beachy. And so Meg moved back in. She had moved to New York and to be an artist and decided that wasn't for her. So she moved back into the Morrissey. And the thing about her is that she can see and hear ghosts. In fact, her best friend is a ghost that's been with her since childhood. And so, yeah, there's a murder in the building, and she decides to try to solve it with her ghost friend. It was fine, but there were some things in the story that were extremely convenient. Extremely convenient. I was like, really? you just happened to be there. You just happened to call like this, like at one point she calls a psychic number and just happens to talk to someone. I don't want to give any spoilers, but it's like, really? Okay. But it was fine. Her best friend, the ghost, I forgot her name, but she was a young person in the 90s. And so it's very funny, like, to hear all of her like 90s things, like the bands and things like that. I'm like, oh yeah, because I'm an older person. So I did live through the 90s. So I was like, oh yeah, that was good. I like that. So that was fun. So yeah, I give it 3 stars. I probably will not continue with the series. There's too many other books that I want to read. But it wasn't a bad series. It wasn't a bad book at all. It's like a cozy mystery, it tries to be. But yeah, it wasn't bad at all. So, but yeah, The Body in 3B. So I got my list on my laptop right here, so I don't forget anything. The next book I read is the second in the Susan Ryland series, Moonflower Murders by Anthony Horowitz. I don't own this one. I own Magpie Murders, but not this one. I would like to, though. I gave it 3.75 stars. Okay, so Susan is approached by a couple who own a hotel, and their daughter has gone missing, and there was a murder at the hotel a few years prior, and it has to do with a book series that she edited, that the first book, Magpie Murders, is about the murder of that author. And so they believe that all of this has to do with one book in the series. And so they go to her and they're like, you know the book better than anybody. Our daughters believe she found something after reading the book, and so then she went missing. So you know the book better than anybody. You edited it. You've read it. Please help us out. And so she goes to do that. I liked it. I did like it. I like Magpie Murders more, but I did like Moonflower Murders. Again, half of the book is with Susan, and the other half of the book is the book that she edited, the mystery book that she edited. And I really like reading both because you're trying to figure out who did it in both. I think that's a lot of fun. But yeah, I cannot wait to read the next book in the series. Like I said in my mid-year book freakout tag, I really like Susan as a character. She's more mature. She doesn't make rash, crazy decisions most of the time. Sometimes she does, because she's trying to solve a case, but it doesn't leave me with, really? Why did you do that? Like, I don't have that feeling with her. So yeah, I highly suggest these if you're looking for fun mysteries. So yeah. The next book I do own. It is Fruits Basket, the Collector's Edition, Volume 7. Now, I was introduced to Fruits Basket from my husband when we first got together. He likes manga and anime, but anyway, I didn't know much about it. And so he was like, you know, you like cutesy stuff, I bet you'll like Fruits Basket. And so we watched the anime and I loved it. And so when I found out, I had never read the manga, but when I found out there are these really pretty collector's editions coming out, I went ahead and bought them. So I read the 7th one and I really liked it. I gave it a 3.5 for this installment. I'm working my way through them. I do own them all. So I am gradually going through them. But it follows the Soma family who members of the family are cursed. Like they turn into members of the Chinese zodiac. Like a rat and a horse and a cow and things like that. If they are hugged by a member of the opposite gender. So they have to be very careful, and most of them are very young, so like middle school, high school, young adult, so they have to be very careful and watch themselves to make sure that they don't get hugged by a member of the opposite gender, so they don't like turn into the animal, because they keep it under wraps. It's a secret. And a young girl named Toru Honda meets them and becomes involved with them, and she's just a sweet girl, very, very sweet. Like, no one is that nice and sweet in real life. I wish I was, but I'm definitely not. But she becomes involved with them and just wants to help them, and it's about their lives. And there's some very serious moments in the series, but there's also some very funny moments in the series, and it's very very heartwarming at times. I really like it. So if you like sweet mangas or animes, I would suggest giving Fruits Basket a try. The next book I read is Green Teeth by Molly O'Neill. Now this book has been in several of my videos because it's so great. I gave this book 4 stars, maybe 4.25 even, 4.5, I don't know. It's up there. I really like it. Sorry, I hear a dog barking. We don't have a dog, so it's someone's dog. Anyway, yes, I spoke about this in my top 10 of 2025 so far video. I really enjoy it. I honestly believe this will be my end year top 10 because it's just so good. It's a fairy tale about Jenny Greenteeth, who lives in a pond or a lake near this village, and she becomes involved with a human named Temperance. I love that name, Temperance, and a goblin named Brachus, and their quest to save. It was originally to save Temperance's family, her village, and then it becomes a quest to save Britain. And yeah, and this takes place like, I don't remember when, but back when witches were like cast out and killed and things like that. So during that time period, I really liked it. I love the found family of Jenny and Brachus and Temperance. Brachus cracks me up. It's a great story. If you like fairy tales with quests and friendship and family, I highly suggest this book right here. So it's a very, very good one. So yeah, this is her debut, and I can't wait to see what she comes out with next. So the next book I read, I do not own. It is one that I have been wanting to read just because it's such a iconic series, and that's The Chocolate Chip Cookie Murder by Joanne Fluke. I gave this one 3 stars. It was okay. It's the first in a very large cozy mystery series. I'm sure you see them like anytime you go to a used bookstore or anything like that. They're all like named after desserts. I'm a dessert person, so I was interested, and I like cozy mysteries. The recipes, the book came with recipes. The recipes sounded great. Like I actually want to try some of them. So the 3-star rating has nothing to do with the recipes. It has to do with everything else. Basically, it follows Hannah, who owns a cookie shop in a small town. And I'm like, first of all, how is a cookie shop, like it only sells cookies and coffee, I believe. How does it stay in business in a small town? Like, I don't know. Anyway, a murder happens right outside of her shop, in the back of her shop, at someone she knows. And her brother-in-law is a police officer, and he just passed the detective test, and so he's up to be promoted to detective. So he gets her to help him solve this crime. And I'm like, first of all, why? She has no police or investigative training. She owns a cookie shop. Like, she's a very smart lady. Like, it tells us many times in the story she's a very smart lady. We don't see that a lot, but the author does tell us how smart she is. Like, oh, she knows this and she knows that, but it's not really shown that she's like, the author makes it seem like tells us like she's like some genius savant type person, but you don't see that in the book. Like the way she acts and the stuff she does, she just acts like a normal person. So it's just like, okay. But anyway, why would this man who is up for detective ask a civilian for help solving a murder? Especially because she's family. That's his sister-in-law. Like, he's married to her sister. That made no sense to me. And in the book, there were so many times where I'm like, what's he doing? Like, Hannah was doing all of the legwork, doing all the investigating, putting herself in danger, putting herself out there. And I'm like, what is he doing? Oh, he made a couple of phone calls. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I was getting angry at him. I'm like, okay, dude. Like, you're the one who's up for detective. But yeah, you're letting your sister-in-law, you know, a baker, do everything. Doesn't make sense. It is also very dated. It's not a recent book, but it uses words that I definitely don't use. Like the R word. There's some little racist terms that we now know in the year of our Lord 2025 we don't use anymore. So it was very dated. But back then when the book was written, I think it was like 2000, maybe? I don't remember. I need to look it up. Those words were accepted. So don't fault her too much for that. But yeah, it was kind of like, ooh, I don't use that word. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to continue with the series. Maybe if I need like a palate cleanser, if I've read something very heavy, that might be something I go back to. If anything, just to see the recipes. Because yeah, the cookies sounded amazing. Yeah, don't listen to these or don't read them if you're hungry, because you're just like, ooh, I want that cookie. So it definitely makes you want to bake some cookies. But yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Like, there's just so many things I'm like, that doesn't make sense. But with a cozy mystery, you have to sometimes just kind of let things slide. The next book I read was The Last Gifts of the Universe by Riley August. I had never heard of this book. I just happened to see it in the library. I was walking by the new releases shelf and I saw it and I love the cover. I mean, it has a cat in an astronaut outfit. That was so cute. And so I was like, okay, let's try it. Apparently this was first indie published and then it got picked up by a traditional publisher, which is awesome. I gave this book 3.5 stars. It is short and sweet. It follows Scout, their brother Kieran, and their cat Pumpkin, and they're from Earth, and it's from the future where like we can travel to different planets, but it seems like every other planet where life was once there, it's all dead. Like they go to planets and they find like these buildings, these decrepit buildings, and no one's there. Like every other planet out there, like there's no life anymore except on Earth. And so Scout and Kieran are part of their archivists. And so their job is to go to these planets and see if they can find information left behind by these peoples so they can figure out what happened to them and try to prevent it from happening to Earth. And so they go and they find a planet and they go planet side and they take Pumpkin with them, like the cat. It actually wears a little astronaut suit with a bubble and everything. I'm sorry. That just tickled me. I thought that was so cute. Anyway, so they go to planet and while they're there, they encounter this other group. Now, Scout and Kieran work for this nonprofit organization that like takes information and just distributes it to everybody and like tries to like, okay, what can we do to solve this? What did we learn from these planets? Anything like that. But they encountered this other organization. I believe it's Vertigo. And they do the same thing, except they keep all the information for profit. Like they also disseminate it and everything, but they sell it. And so there's like medicines on Earth that was made from information they got from other planets. But because Vertigo owns like the copyright, the rights to it, like a lot of people can't afford it because they charge such extravagant prices. So the book follows Scout and Kieran and Pumpkin as they try to beat this team from the Vertigo to these different planets to get this information to find out what happened to these planets, how did they die, and what they can do to stop it from happening on Earth. So I really liked it. I liked the brother-sister dynamic. I really liked it. I really liked the sibling dynamic. I love Pumpkin. I love that there was no romance in it. It's just them. But anyway, it's a fun book. It's a short book. It's a quick book. The letters were big even. So if you want some like a short, good sci-fi, I suggest this. So I'm really interested to see what this author publishes in the future. But yeah, I liked it. I'm not a huge sci-fi person, but this was a good one for me. I liked it. The next book I read is one I've been curious about for a very long time, and that is A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. Now, I've seen this book everywhere. I believe there was a TV show. I don't know if it's still going on, and I kept wondering, like, should I buy it? Will I like it? And I finally said, just brought it from the library. And if you like it, great, you can buy it in the series. And if you don't, no harm, no foul. So I borrowed it. I rated it 3.25. It is okay. It follows Diana, who's a witch, and a vampire named Matthew. Now, I've heard someone told me that this is like Twilight for adults. I never read Twilight. I never saw the movies. I don't know anything about it other than vampires sparkle in the sun. That's all I know. So that didn't really deter me from this. I was like, well, I don't know anything about Twilight, so I'm just gonna go ahead and read it. It was fine. Like, Diana is a scholar and she works for a university. And she is doing her research in the university library, and she calls up this sacred text. And no one's been able to call this text. Like, she didn't even know that it was special or sacred. When she gets it, she realizes that it has magic in it. But she gets the information she wants at the time and then just sends it back. Because at the library, I guess they ask for these texts. The librarian helpers come give it to them, and then when they're done, they send it back, and the library helpers, the assistants, put it back. So because she was able to pull this, all of a sudden, all the witches, the vampires, and the demons know. Like, they know she was able to call this secret text. And this document is important to all three. And so they are following Diana because they know she doesn't have it, but she's been the only one to find it. And so they want her to find it again so they can take it. And so Matthew is a vampire and he wants it as well. But as you can tell, probably a romance occurs. And it was fine. I remember she sleeps a lot. She does a lot of sleeping in this book. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue with the series. Like, I don't know. It was okay. It was okay. I don't understand the hype or the hoopla. Like, it was fine. I may go back. I may not. So, I don't know. The next book I read was Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. Love this book. The whole series, the whole Hunger Games series gets a 5. Sorry, I moved my cup and I've spilled coffee on myself. Luckily, it's not super hot anymore. Yeah, sorry about that. It's the second in the Hunger Games trilogy. I don't think I need to go over what the Hunger Games is about. I think everybody knows at this point. If you've never read the Hunger Games trilogy, the original, do yourself a favor and do it. I'm rereading it because I want to read Sunrise on the Reaping in July. So I wanted to read the original trilogy before I did that, just to give myself a refresher. It had been a few years since I read it. So yes, it's funny as I reread them, like, I'm imagining Jennifer Lawrence when I read about Katniss. You know, I'm imagining Woody Harrelson when I read about Haymitch. So it's very funny. But anyway, everybody knows what Hunger Games is. Catching Fire is amazing, obviously. So yeah. I don't own it because I want it in the deluxe editions, but I'm waiting for Sunrise on the Reaping to get released in that same edition, and then I'm going to buy them. The next book I do own. Yay. I'm not sure what I rate this. It is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. At least a 4.5, maybe a 4.75. I really, really enjoyed this book. It's my first R.F. Kuang. I know she wrote The Poppy War, but I've heard that's pretty violent, too violent for me, that I've heard from people who know me. So I haven't read them, but yes, I did enjoy Yellowface. It follows Juniper, who is an aspiring author. She's not very successful, and she's friends with Athena, who she met in college, I believe, who is a very successful author. Now, Athena and Juniper are hanging out one evening, and Athena dies in a freak accident. But before that, she had shown Juniper the first draft of her next novel. And so after Juniper calls 911 about Athena, we find out that she steals Athena's first draft and some notebooks she had. Yeah, that's kind of weird. So Juniper takes the book, she kind of reworks it and releases it as her own. And see, Athena is Asian American and Juniper is white. But Juniper's middle name is Song because her mom was kind of hippie-ish, I guess. And so she releases Athena's book as Juniper Song, which is very, racially ambivalent. Not ambivalent. Trying to think of the word. I'm sorry. It's morning time. But anyway, so, and this details the aftermath of her releasing this book that is not hers. Yes, she did some work on it, but it's not hers. And so I really liked it. This is very well written. I liked what R.F. Kuang was saying with this book. It's interesting because you read it and you read, because you're reading from Juniper's point of view, and you see a lot of internalized racism that Juniper has that she doesn't even realize that she has, because she thinks of herself as a very open-minded liberal person, but you see like this racism that she has, and like I said, she doesn't even realize it, but you as the reader, when you're reading it, you realize that's what it is. So yeah, I really liked it. This is my first R.F. Kuang. As I said, I do own Babel, and I want to get Catabasis, so I'm hoping it's not going to be my last. But yes, I do like this, and I highly suggest it. I recommend it. It's very good. So yes, I was excited to read another book that I own. The next book I read is, what was it? Oh, Carl's Doomsday Scenario. It's the second in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. This is one that I do not own, but I would like to. My husband especially wants to own the series, so I give it 4.5 stars. It's not as good as Dungeon Crawler Carl, but it's still very good. It continues to follow Carl and Donut, and I've talked about Dungeon Crawler Carl before in other videos, and I don't want to give too much detail, especially not about number 2, because yeah, it's a spoiler. But we really liked it. Princess Donut makes a lot of character development, which I really liked. My husband and I love the character of Mongo. If you don't know who Mongo is, you gotta read it and find out. Mongo is just fun, a darling. Which, if you know about Mongo, it's such a funny word to use for him. But yes, it's a great book, and my husband and I have already started the 3rd book. So yes, do yourself a favor and listen to Dungeon Crawler Carl. So yeah. But yeah, we would like to physically own them one day. Okay, the next book I read is First Writer's Call by Kristen Britton. This is the next book in the Green Rider series. Now, on the Bookish Drummer Discord, they've got a read-along going on. I am very far behind. Like, this book, I believe, was the June read, and it was the April read, and I read it in June. So I'm far behind. But yes, I'm trying. I gave this book 3.5 stars. I liked Green Rider better, but I still like this one. And these books, you're following Kerrigan, and you continue to follow Kerrigan in this one. And in this book, you find out that the Green Rider, they are the messengers for the king. And each Green Rider has a specific, like, magic ability. They each do something different. And so they find that a lot of the Green Riders, their magic is changing, is diminishing. And so, and there are dark forces that are trying to overtake the world. And so it's about good versus bad. And I liked it. I really did like it a lot. I want to continue to follow Kerrigan and follow the world. I really like the characters, and I want to know where it goes. So, yep, I will be reading book 3 shortly, hopefully. So yes, I'm hoping to catch up to everybody on the Discord. So the next book I read, I own. And that is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. And this is really good. This was recommended to me by many people. And I'm glad I read it. I gave this one 5 stars. This book was amazing. I did cry a little bit. If you know me, that's not a shock. I cried a little bit. I laughed a lot. I really liked it. It deals with Ryland Grace, who wakes up one day and he's got amnesia. He didn't know his name. He finds it out shortly, so it's not a spoiler. But he finds out he's on a spaceship. He doesn't know how he got there. He has 2 crewmates, but they're dead. And so he doesn't know who they are. He doesn't know anything. And he's like, where am I? And so it details him trying to figure that out. Like, that sounds terrifying to me. First, I'm terrified of outer space. Like, nope, I would not go. Nope. My husband would love to, but absolutely not for me. I want to stay on the ground, not go in space. But that'd be terrifying to wake up one day, you don't know where you are, and you're on a spaceship, and you're not even in your solar system. You don't know where you are. And you're the only one that's there. So yeah, that would be terrifying to me, but it follows him, and basically the earth is in peril because the sun is losing its light and heat. And so he is trying to figure out why and what's going on and what he could do to save Earth. So yes, but yeah, 5 stars. I can't wait to read The Martian by him. So it's very, very good. And I gotta hurry up. This video is 30 minutes long already. Oof. Okay, the next book I read was The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. I borrowed this from my library. It's a nonfiction by Mel Robbins. I know she's a very famous author and podcaster and motivational speaker. I've heard of her name, but I've never read anything by her or really listened to her before. I have friends that do. In fact, a friend of mine was reading this book and really liked it. So I was like, okay, I'll try it out. I really like this book. I gave it 4.5 stars. It's about how you're not able to change people and how they react and how they think. The only thing that you're in control of is yourself. And so that was really good. And it's like, let them. If they want to do that, let them. You can't change it. So let them do that, but let me react this way. And so I really like it. I want to buy it for myself so I can underline and highlight and remember things, because it's one I definitely want to read over and over, because I am very much a people pleaser and I will say things and do things just to please other people, and I need to be true to myself and not do that. So yeah. Anyway, I recommend it if you if you're human. I was gonna say if you struggle with things, but like, who doesn't? So I really recommend it. So yes. The next book I read was Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins. It's the 3rd in the original Hunger Games trilogy. Again, it's excellent. 5 stars for the series. And now on to Sunrise on the Reaping. Can't wait. The next book I read was The Brampton Witch Murders by Ellis Blackwood. Now, I saw this on the Hoopla app. I just needed a book to read, and this was short. And so I thought, why not? I'm driving around doing a bunch of errands, so it's something I can listen to while I do that. I gave it 3 stars. It is a cozy mystery. Well, it's supposed to be a cozy mystery, but it takes place in like the 1600s. And it follows, it's about this man whose sister is accused of witchcraft. So instead of going himself, he's a very influential, important person. But instead of going himself to solve this, he sends his housekeeper and some other guy. And so they go to solve it. And yeah, it was okay. There's a lot of misogyny in it, of course, because that's how the times were back then. So that wasn't surprising. If there wasn't, it would be like, that's not true to the time period. But still, it's like, we're not going to listen just because she's a woman? Sorry. It was fine. I'm probably not going to continue with the series. But it was a good little short book. It was like 4 hours. So, and I listened at double speed, so it didn't take me long at all. So I finished it in that day as I was running errands and driving around and doing stuff like that. So yeah. Okay, just a couple more books. I read Time Loops and Meat Cubes by Jackie Lau. It's a romance. I gave it 3.25 stars. It's about Noelle, who gets caught up in a time loop after eating magic dumplings, and she relives June 20th over and over and over again, and she's trying desperately to get out of it. She's a very, I don't want to say rigid, but structured person. She doesn't spend a lot of money because she's trying to save it. And she has her life is very structured. She doesn't take a lot of risks. And so she soon realizes that reliving the same day over and over again, like, there's no consequences. So she goes and she gets her haircut in fun ways and dyes it because it doesn't matter. And so she's able to see like, oh, what I like. And she goes and eats wonderful meals that are very expensive. Like, she takes trips. She does things because she takes risks because she knows there's no consequences. And so it kind of teaches her that it's okay to take risks, you know. And but she meets a guy during these time loops that she really likes. And so it's very funny to see her like try to flirt with him and then mess up and be like, okay, I'm just gonna try again tomorrow. And then she sees like, oh, this worked. So tomorrow I'm going to try this. So that was pretty funny. It was cute. It made me hungry. They talk about food a lot, you know, the meals and the dumplings and everything. I'm like, I want some dumplings. But yes, it made me hungry. But 3.25, it was okay. It wasn't anything great, but it wasn't bad either. So yeah, it was just a fine, cute little romance. So yeah. The next book I read is Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. This is the first in the African trilogy. I believe it was published in 1960. It's one that has been on my radar for a long time that I've seen, and I know it's a very famous book. And so I thought, why not? It's time. I gave it 3.25 stars. It wasn't a bad book. It was very well written. Yes, the author has a great way with words. It follows Okonkwo. I'm definitely saying that wrong. And his family, and as their tribe, and was encountered by white missionaries and military. It's I don't like the main character. He's not nice. But it was very interesting. I did like learning more about this tribe and their culture. This book made me realize that I need to read more books set in Africa and books written by African authors. I haven't read a lot, so now I'm thinking about it. So I'd really like to read more. So yes, but I would definitely recommend it just because it is a classic. It is very well written. Actually, I might raise it up to 3.5 stars just because it is so well written. I shouldn't let my dislike of the main character color that. But it does show you how people, missionaries and the military, like white people, came in and were like, our way is the right way. What you're doing is wrong, and how detrimental that was to these tribes and everything that they like, their way of life. So yeah, it was good. The last book I read, I really liked. It is The River Has Roots by Amela Mutad. I gave it 4.5 stars. So good. So well written. Wow. I've never read anything by this author before. I know they wrote This Is How You Lose the Time War. I haven't read it, but now I'm definitely going to. This author has a way with words. It was like reading poetry. Oh, so beautiful. I loved it. It's a novella. It's about two sisters who live on the edge of Arcadia, which is where fairies live. And it's about their relationship and their life. And I loved reading about their strong sister bond. I have two sisters, and so I love books that deal with sisterly bonds. And oh my gosh, it was so good. It was just so well written. And the book, I bought it from the library, but I'm definitely gonna buy it. It has beautiful illustrations. It is just wow, so good. Even it's funny, when I went to pick it up, the librarian was like, "Oh, this book looks really pretty." I was like, "I know, I can't wait to read it." So, but yes, I really liked it. I really liked reading about their bonds and their family and the time period. Like, there's this man who wants to court one of them, and yes, it's so good. I really highly recommend it. If you've got, like, I read it in a day because it's short and so good. So if you've got some time and you want to read something beautiful, I highly recommend this book. And anyway, that is the last of the 19 books. This video is long. I'm going to try to edit some of it out. Sorry. But I did read a lot. So yeah, let me know in the comments how many books you read in June and which one was your favorite. Mine was definitely Project Hail Mary with 5 stars. So good. Even if you're not into sci-fi, I suggest you read that. I forgot to say, as I was reading it, I realized I am way too dumb to go to space. But anyway, let me know in the comments what was your favorite book and how many books you read in June if you keep count. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you'd like to see more from me. I'm going to try to post on Mondays and Thursdays. So yeah. All right. Well, have a wonderful day. And remember, life is too short to drink bad coffee. So don't do it.